Hi there, Booktube! My name is Cristina and today I'm here in order to film my wrap-up for Booktube-a-thon 2018. I know I'm a little bit late, but life gets in the way as usual, so here I am finally with my wrap-up. The first thing that I need to say is that I definitely hoped to have more time to read, but unfortunately it wasn't so. So that's the reason why I wasn't able to complete the 7 books in 7 days challenge. I just finished 6.5, let's say, books out of 7. So I was so close to the victory with myself, but yeah, it didn't went as I planned. But this was a very interesting readathon for me because I discovered some books that I loved very much and some others that not so much. So that's the reason why I decided to film this wrap-up, and I hope that you will find it interesting. So first of all, let's start with the mangas that I read. It was the 4th issue in A Hedgehog in Love by Naoki Hinachi, and this is a very cutesy, fluffy romance, and it was so lovely, and it had a bit of green on the cover here with the number, and yeah, it was just on the same note as the whole series. Very nice, very lovely. I appreciated this issue quite a bit. So yeah, this was a fun and cute read. I read it in a day just because it's a manga, so it doesn't take me that long. And the same goes for Tsubaki-cho Lonely Planet, and this one is by Mika Yamamori, and this one was the 8th issue in the series. And again, I enjoyed it very much. It's about a romance, it's lovely, it's interesting, and now I'm just waiting to read the next 2 issues, and probably for A Hedgehog in Love it will be the last one, while Tsubaki-cho is still going on here in Italy, so I'm curious to see how it goes. And then I went on reading a graphic novel, and it was The Prince and the Dressmaker. And I enjoyed this graphic novel very much. It wasn't very short, it was of a great length, not too long, not too short, and I really appreciated the drawings. They are very nice. Just give a look, and if you're interested in the matter, it's very lovely to see how the characters start to interact with each other and how they develop their friendship and what happens. And we have a bit about friendship, a bit about love, a bit about what it means to follow a dream and how it may end up if you get lost on the way while you're trying to reach it. So it was very interesting and quite emotional by the end of it, so I enjoyed it very much. Then, since I'm trying to get ready for the next live game in which I will take part, that will be set in a kind of a fable, fairy tale setting, I decided to read A Midsummer Night's Dream. And here I have the English edition. I read it in Italian, and it was so quick, and I enjoyed it so much that I don't know why I've not picked it up sooner, just because for some reason I was very afraid, and I enjoyed it in Italian. I will have to still try and read it in English. I believe that in English it will be so much more difficult to comprehend and to just grasp all of the meanings and all of the shades, and just, I know that Shakespeare is something that you really need to dig deeper to understand all of the meanings and know the language very well, which is not the case unfortunately for me. So I hope that in the future I will get there, but for now I read it in Italian and I enjoyed the story. I laughed at some points, it was nice and just enjoyable, even if I had some minor issues with it. I don't know, the way in which Oberon treated Titania, I wasn't fine with it at all, but I understand that it was written in a very different time, and it was supposed to be represented in front of people with a different mindset. But I was just there like, I want to hit you so much right now for what you're saying and how you're treating her and the whole mess that happened because of you. But yeah, at the end of it, I really enjoyed it, and if you're afraid to read it, then I definitely suggest you to give it a try. And if you're not a native English speaker, then just give it a try in your language. You'll probably enjoy it. Just let me know if it ever happened to you to read it in your language. I'm very curious. Next, I have like the lowest point of my readathon. And unfortunately, it is the collection of poetries. The Princess saves herself in this one, and it's the first one in a trilogy of poems and poetry trilogy from what I get, and I want to read the second one just to see if it improves somehow. I've not enjoyed it, like almost at all. I think that I enjoyed it less than Milk and Honey, and I wasn't a huge fan of Milk and Honey, but at least in Milk and Honey there were some poems that somehow hit me and made me feel some emotions. In this case, I was very disconnected from the writer. I found it a bit strange and a bit too distracturated. I don't know if it's a word. And yeah, it was just so Tumblr-ish, so MySpace-ish, so any other kind of social network that was out there and that on which just young people used to throw all of their thoughts in a very poetic kind of way, which is not exactly poetic. It's just that you really try to synthesize what you're thinking in a few words, but this doesn't mean that it's a poem. At least this is, of course, my personal point of view. What I'm discovering is that I don't like modern poetry at all. I like poems that rhyme. I like poems that have a deep meaning and then that have, I don't know, some kind of research behind the words that are used there. It's not only about the feeling. Yeah, the feeling is mainly like the focus point in all the poems, but it's not enough to make a good poem for me. So I wasn't a huge fan, unfortunately. Maybe I will enjoy the second one a little bit more, but if it has the same structure, then I highly doubt it. And let me know down below if you enjoyed this collection of poems, if you've read them, what were your thoughts about it. And finally, the last but one book that I read was again a graphic novel, and it was Persepolis. And it was the complete volume, and I need to tell you that I loved it so much. Just as much as I was disappointed with the collection of poems, I was happy about picking up this graphic novel. It's very simple as far as drawings are concerned. It's in black and white, like there are not many fancy images or landscapes and so on. It's all about life. It's autobiographical, so the author is the protagonist in the graphic novel, and I found it so deep, emotional, so raw, so ironic and sarcastic and just funny and just true and very informative and formative, just because I really knew nothing about like a real life experience of someone coming from Tehran. So it was very unique for me. It was a different perspective, a different point of view, and it was very curious to see how the Western society is perceived by someone coming from the Middle East and vice versa, and all of the misunderstandings, all of the difficulties, all of the good sides and all of the bad sides, and how the political changes of a country were perceived by a normal family. It was very rich and fulfilling experience to read this graphic novel, and I really suggest to anyone, pretty much anyone, except maybe for very young children, to read this graphic novel. It will leave something to you. I mean, even just the knowledge of something different from what you're used to, and this is always a huge plus for a book, but then it was just such an enjoyable experience. It was deep and unique in its own way, so I hope that a lot of people will read it in the future. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars, and I just really felt as if it's a thing to do in this case, to give 5 stars, even if I had some minor issue, and it was the ending of the graphic novel. I found that the ending was just a little bit too abrupt, just unexpected. I hoped for something more, maybe something a little bit different, like a more smooth kind of ending. It just felt cut at some point, and I hoped for a little tiny bit more. But then in that case that would have been like perfection. Here it's just a highly satisfying experience to read this graphic novel, so I highly recommend it to you. And the very last book that I tried to complete but I wasn't able to was Peter Pan and Wendy by Barry, and this is a well-loved and well-known book. I reached, I believe, page 190, so I had 100 and something more pages to go. I was so close, but I just had no time to read at the end of it. I'm just loving this edition. These manga editions, they're amazing. If you're a manga lover, then you will enjoy them. The drawings are so lovely, they go so well with the story, and the story is, again, very unique in a sense. I mean, we're used to think that Peter Pan is something for children, but it's not. If you start reading this story, then you get that it's definitely meant even more for adults than for children, because some things you understand them only if you're an adult. There are some references, there are some phrases, some words that are used, and some concepts that are just there for adult people to grasp and not for children. So that's the reason why probably this book is surviving throughout centuries, because it's appealing for both children and adults, and for completely different reasons. So it's a book that may be your companion throughout all of your life. So what may you want more from a book in this case? And I'm really enjoying it till now. I hope to finish it very soon, but yeah, that's the reason why I wasn't able to complete my 7 in 7 challenge. But I think that this readathon was so important for me. I'm reading more again, and I'm feeling energized and very highly motivated to read more and film more videos that I hope that I will be able to get out there somehow as soon as possible. And this is it for my video. Please let me know down below if you've participated in Booktube-a-thon, or if you've not participated, what you've done meanwhile, and if you've read any of the books that I read during this week, because I would love to chat with you about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye! Ciao!